It's dizzy. I'm at my house. I was working on firewood today. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, so I took the rest of the oak that I had in the back of my pickup out and stuck it in here. Now, as you can see, a lot of these pieces are not overly long. You can see how big that is. A lot of them are that size. When I measured them, I think the longest one I found was like 11 inches. I am not a fan of short pieces of wood. Now, I've seen videos of people that they'll spend $25 and they'll go get a whole load of wood from the lumber mill that scraps. And a lot of them are only pieces that are about this size. But like I said, I'm not a fan of it. And there's a few different reasons. First off, if you have a 60-inch log, let's say, and you cut that in 10-inch pieces, you've just made 5 cuts. You have 6 pieces that you now need to split. If you cut that in 15-inch pieces, you now have made 3 cuts, and you have 4 pieces to split. And it's going to take you longer to split those 6 pieces than it is going to take you to split the 4 pieces. Plus, you don't get any more wood cutting it at 10 inches as compared to 15. Then you have to stack it. Now, the majority of the wood that I have stacked in here is short. This is all from that trees and the ash that I took down in the trees that were taken down in the front yard. The stuff that I cut, I try to stick with 14 inches or bigger, between 14 and 16 inches. I found for me that's the size that works best. But if somebody else is cutting it for me, like they did with this oak out front, they didn't ask me how long I wanted it cut. They just cut it, and a lot of the pieces are small. Here's one here that's really small. More of it. This is a nice size piece, but it can make it very difficult to stack, especially for the wood holder that I have in my basement. In order to put wood in that on the bottom and on the sides, it needs to be 14 inches at least. So this is a piece of the cherry that I had cut. What I did was I've been splitting that just as much as I needed, that and other stuff that I have, and using that at the bottom and along the sides, and then it's a matter of filling in the best I can. Of course, because the pieces are so small, it's harder to stack in there. It's harder for me to take it in, and it doesn't fill it as well as it would if I had the longer pieces, because they're hard to get in there, they're hard to stack. And like I said, I'm not a fan. I had to fill it sooner rather than later because, like I said, the pieces aren't as long. And it means also I'm making more trips in and out because with the pieces short, it's harder to hold them than as compared to if they're long. Right now I need to make a new wood carrier, but even with the wood carrier, it's so hard to get the short pieces in the house. And then it's like I said, it's Jenga, jigsaw puzzle, something to get it stacked both in here and in my wood holder in the house. Another reason I don't like these short pieces of wood, when I'm putting wood in the fire, now if I'm going to be there and keeping an eye on the fire, it's not that bad. I can put wood in as needed. But when I am trying to put wood in the stove to burn all night long, having these short pieces is a nuisance. I cannot get them situated in such a way normally that I'm going to have a long burn overnight. Most mornings when I go downstairs, I don't have enough coals to start the fire back up from that, even though the wood stove looked like it was full when I went to bed. It wasn't really, because like I said, with these little pieces, it's so hard to get in there. Now, it's not to say that when I have wood that I'm cutting up that I don't end up with pieces that are shorter than 14 inches. Let's face it, if I have something that's 20 inches long, I'm going to cut that in half. It's going to be two 10-inch pieces. Or maybe I have something that's longer and I'm cutting it, it might come to like 9 inches or even 10 inches. That makes most sense for me to cut it. But that's the exception rather than the rule. So when you're cutting your firewood, that's something you want to take into consideration, is how long a piece do you want. That's one reason why I prefer cutting my own firewood. I am hoping that after this year, since I'm hoping to be in Kentucky next year, I'm hoping that I don't have to ever worry about wood from somebody else. So I hope it's nice where you are, and I'll have a nice day.